Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Retro Pop Planet. And today we are at the Stephen F. Udvar-Hazy Center of the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum. And we are here to just do a walkthrough. Now, I'm actually here doing some filming for some other stuff, but this is gonna be my long play walkthrough of the museum itself if you just wanna see what kind of cool stuff they have here. And they have a lot. I love this museum. It is awesome. All right, here's the Space Shuttle Discovery hallway. It doesn't show up on camera, but this Discovery is huge. This shuttle is so neat.
Here along the starboard side, you can see the robotic arm boom, an extension to the arm, which is now on display outside of Discovery. The yellow handles are for astronauts to move. Under the white blankets are lots of vehicle systems. You can see one section open here near the airlock. The doors overhead were open.
Oh, these are really cool. Do you guys remember the R2-D2 postal box? They actually had one near my home and it wasn't up for very long. But I always thought this was just a super interesting idea. And then right next to it, there's I guess like an orbital phone box. Mercury. Okay, yeah, wow, it's been a while. 2007, one of 400, and yeah, we had one in my neighborhood, and it was celebrating the 30th anniversary in 2007 for its release on May 25th, 1977. I don't know if I've ever actually given my birth date on the channel, but it's pretty interesting in the fact that I'm exactly as old as Star Wars. I was born May 25th, 1977, the day that Star Wars was released in theaters. This is really cool. They have like a little pop culture toys section, starting with some of the old tin spaceships and rockets and robots. The laser guns, which I've always thought were super cool. Just the different toy guns. Buck Rogers. Flash Gordon. Different fan group promotions, Buck Rogers. And then down below, some old lunch boxes, Tom Corbett, Flash Gordon. And then moving next door, you've got, if you're a little bit older, you probably remember some of these, the Mego Star Trek playset. Some Star Trek comm sets, Enterprise toys, the Buck Rogers Tweaky, and this is awesome. How many of these do you have? I actually have all of them except the pop-up R2. I still need to get one of those. Sure, Barbies. Here you have a Captain Video space game. It's pretty neat. And then further below the Barbies, you got some Babylon 5 stuff and a carded Rebel Commando figure. So these are out of someone's personal collection, or out of, looks like multiple different people have gifted it, or, you know, long-term loan. This reminds me of the video game, is it Days Gone? They have these mobile quarantine facilities. You have to get them back up online in the video game. Zombie horror. Here's another one from Secret Weapons of the Luftwaffe. This is a Dornier. And then the Arado. And I think you can also fly this one, the Heinkel HE-219. Such a wild looking plane. The Germans always use these like balloon tires, almost like off-roading tires, because most of the airstrips, at least at the end of the war, were dirt and grass fields, and sometimes snow. I've seen these at air shows, the Junkers JU-52. Don't forget to look up, because there's all kinds of aircraft up here as well, which you get a better view of from the top deck. Oh, this is pretty cool. I haven't seen this one before. It was built in 2019. It's a drone, but designed to look like an X-Wing. Pretty neat. Here I am standing underneath the Concorde. I remember seeing these taking off and landing here out of Dulles Airport, which is just 5 minutes down the road. Sometimes my favorite exhibits at the Smithsonian is just the commercial aviation. This is a little Dassault Falcon 20 retired FedEx plane. Here's a Goodyear airship Pilgrim. Retired in 1931. This is the control car, or the gondola that actually would sit below the blimp. And here's a more modern one here, which has a camera attached to it. This is the Columbia. It said it overflew the 1977, 80, 83, and 85 Super Bowls, the 81 and 84 World Series, Rose Bowl games and parades, 1984 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. Oh, and it starred in the 1977 thriller Black Sunday and appeared in other films, and it was retired in 1986. So we have a movie prop here.
I said that to Irish French. We heard that.
This is Ross Perot Jr.'s helicopter from 1982, the Spirit of Texas. I think I had a die-cast, like Hot Wheels or Matchbox car of this. I think I had a toy of this. On the backside here, you have some more helicopters. I've flown in a helicopter exactly twice in my entire life, and they were both at air shows, and they were really quick, like 5-minute flights. And it was in one of these Robinsons. They're a little creepy with the doors open. When it's turning, you feel like you're gonna fall out. I think I have a video here on my channel if you wanna look that up. It's old though. Actually, now I'm not so sure. This is a Robinson R22, the oldest that's been flying the longest, rather. And it was, I think the one I've been in was a lot smaller. Could have been this model with the doors off. You can see how incredibly small it is. And when this thing gets turning, and I sat in one where there was 3 of us. You had the pilot, me, and a passenger. I thought we were gonna fall out. There's the Concorde. This is one of those vehicles that never came to fruition. One of those came out during the jet age in the 1950s, and this was supposed to be an all-purpose vehicle that you could take on the road and then you could go for a fly. Yeah, obviously here we are in 2025 and this is not common use. Here's an overhead shot of the Enola Gay. I first saw the Enola Gay in boxes. The Smithsonian used to have a facility, I don't know if it's still there, in Maryland somewhere, and it's where they put a lot of their overflow stuff. And I had a friend's dad, neighbor of my parents, that actually was in the Navy at the time, and when he got his access in there, and I first saw it was just a nose cone and the Enola Gay, and it was very faded out. It needed to be repaired. And for a long time in the early 90s, the actual front section of the plane was all that was all that was assembled, and it was actually in the main Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., and it caused an uproar. A lot of people rejected the fact that it was in there just because of its history, but it has been in here, I believe, since the beginning of this museum's opening, and this is its permanent home, and it is fully assembled. I don't know if it's in flying condition, but it's displayable condition. I think it's wild they have a Black Widow in here, which was a model kit that I had as a kid, and I put it together, and it was weird because I couldn't find any books at the time about this specific plane. And it is really cool. It was a night flyer. This Horton, I think, is another one from the video game. And look how tiny the cockpit is. A really nice Curtiss Helldiver. If you've ever played any carrier simulation games, you probably spent some time in one of these. some other experimental Japanese aircraft from the war. I would imagine they're still looking for parts for the rest of it, just knowing what I know about the Smithsonian. Nick torpedo bomber. Of course, the George. We actually have a A6M50 at the main Smithsonian in Washington. Across the hall you have an FW190, and we have a BF109. It's either a G or an E at the Smithsonian in Washington. I think there might be an F190 there as well. But there's also the ME262 in Washington. Looks to be all decked out in winter livery. It's a nice winter paint scheme. It's a pretty interesting sailplane. It said that the Deutsches Technik Museum in Berlin began to restore this in 95, but they couldn't, well, 1994, but they couldn't find any drawings or other info about it. So the Air and Space Museum, actually, the curators asked the staff in Berlin to preserve rather than restore it. And here we are today. See, this is what I mean. If you come around back, this is their restoration area. They're probably looking for parts to complete this B-17. And is this a G? The G would have the chin turret here. And here's the wings. This is one of my favorite planes of World War II. Flight of the Intruder was one of those books that I think everyone read back in the day, and then they turned it into a movie, which wasn't very successful. They have an X-35 in here now. This is new since the last time I was in here. And of course you have your Blue Angels, your FA-18, and of course the Top Gun F-14. Well, not the one from the movie, but the plane that most people probably, if you grew up in the 80s, were familiar with. That scene on the carrier deck. Over here in the corner is a Super Saver. And I wanted to see what this was, but this was actually at Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941. The plaque said at one time this plane was actually very colorful, but it was stored outside for many, many years, and that's basically why it's in this condition now. Another game I used to play a lot of was Rise of Flight, and it's cool. They have a bunch of World War One fighters in here. French G4. They have a Spad and a kid who's totally melting down. German Halberstadt. Did everybody have one of these as a kid? With some new flavors of astronaut ice cream. While I was in there, they played 4 songs that have all been featured in Fallout games, which I found incredibly wild, considering there's a lot of mid-century, post-war technology in here. So, I don't know, it was a little unsettling. Shake Shack in here. I got the mushroom burger, which I've never had before. Okay, so that actually was a really good burger, or mushroom burger, whatever you want to call it. I skipped the fries. They have a Newport, which are notoriously easy to bring down in Rise of Flight. There's a pit stinker. I've seen a Pitts before at the airport where my dad keeps his plane.
This one is private, so it doesn't tell me.
Which one is private? Right here. This one. I don't why is it private?
Sometimes people own their own airplanes. One behind it's going to Florida. Oh yeah, like I was like, no way that thing got all the way.
One of the coolest things you can do out here is the 15-story observation tower, which has live air traffic control from Dulles Airport. And Dulles is on the north side here, and you can see planes taking off and landing, and you can hear the live air traffic control as it's doing so. Super awesome. If you saw my very depressing TWA Flight 514 crash video, this would have been out west. Mount Weather is somewhere out in this direction. I don't know exactly which way that mountain is, but it's out here somewhere. And go back and watch that video. That's the direction that the plane was traveling, coming toward Dulles Airport.
A 19er Center at 5, going to get the airfield in sight. I called it for that and expecting runway 19er Center, circle 6, 9 with Kevin.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty big one. It's gonna come right over us. You want to guess where that one's going? This next one will be another.
Mommy, so why
lot of people want to go to Washington.
From the tour desk located at the rear of the SR-71 Blackbird.
I think I was wrong about the observation tower. It's only 7 stories, not 15. Hey guys, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please leave it a like. Please feel free to hit that subscribe button to see what other videos from here are on my channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.